Welcome to Ritual Scale Modelling. This is part 4 of DeAgostini's Millennium Falcon. I'm working through issues 8 through to 10. In these issues, I'll be doing a bit of work on the interior once more, but predominantly the leisure area of the ship. Let's jump in and see how I get on. I'm kicking off with issue 8, and this issue is a lot of work in the interior once more, predominantly where the crew sit to relax. The first thing I'm doing is using Rebel Aquacolor 90 Silver, and I'm using a stipple brush here, and I'm putting a bare amount of paint on the brush and just lightly going over the raised area. It's similar to the dry pigment powder that I'm using, but I've switched over to paint because I find it sticking better to the plastic than the weathering powder by Tamiya. So it's the same technique, just using a different medium really. So I'm just going to work around all these parts and do the dry brushing, because effectively that's what it is. You've hardly got any paint on your brush. If I put too much on and take it off with my finger straight away, the reason for that is, instead of painting over, it will give that metal sheen look to the actual bulkhead. There's a little rod and the ends are getting painted in X2 white by Tamiya. I think these are actually meant to be lights, I'm not 100% sure. But white's a nice standout colour, so why not? And the central part is Rebel Aquacolor 90 Silver, so the stem of the rod. Onto a control unit here, and there's various little switches and dials I have to put in. These parts are quite small, the camera won't really zoom in all that well to them. But once they're all on, there's a larger instrument panel. It just gets slotted in underneath them. You can just about make out the two location points that it sits into. I'm moving back to 90 Silver by Rebel Aquacolor, and once more I'm highlighting areas, this time actually on the floor. These are access panels that I'm just highlighting here. I will be going over them again with a different colour to give them some depth. And it's back to the panel wash, and I'm using this for the panel lines on the deck. So I'm just putting in little bits of wash, and the capillary action will take it down the lines of the deck. And then you're going back to Tamiya's Weathering Master Series C. This time I'm using the gunmetal component, and I'm going over the edges of the lines, not the lines themselves. And this will give me a smudged, dirty look along the floor, but the panel lines are a slightly deeper, darker colour. And I'll be using this also on the access hatches as well. It's time to build the main structure for these parts. This is the backing walls for the seat area. So first of all, the archway thing goes on first, and that's just one half of the panel in box even, and the other one on top to create this little hideaway hole. Sorry, a little hideaway hole. And then the little bar light thing goes in the front of that. And once that's done, I'm just going to be loosely fitting it to test fit it, see how it sits. Next on to the seats, and you have to place the backrest onto the main seat. There's a series to do here. There's thicker, fatter ones and thinner ones put on alternatively, and they just slot on in the back. I am using a little bit of super glue to place them on. At the moment I'm just test fitting them to see how well they sit. And so I'm just putting the last one in now. This is the final fitting for these. So you can see it there. Remember, these are all pre-painted. I didn't have to paint these. And now just test fitting it into the main unit to see how it fits in. And now I'm going on to issue 9. And issue 9 is predominantly dealing with the power source for the lights. First of all, I have to light block the outer parts. They have given you a label to do this, or a sticker. Generally I do this with paint, but they provided another source material, so that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just measuring it up to the unit because little bits of it have to be cut out to accommodate the location points. And once they're cut out, I just peel back the protective paper and secure the part inside. So it just, all this does is blocks out any light bleed that's going to show through the plastic. The battery pack is just a simple standard battery pack which holds 4 AA batteries, and since it's a plug and play or light, it's quite easy to connect up. The connections are a bit tight, but as you can see, it works perfectly fine. So just turn it around so you get a better angle, a better view of it, how it's going to look. So you can see the light shining through the plastic and the label. So I just dry fitted the main unit again to see how well it goes. Just turn the light off and you can see how it's going to be looking. Onto the main arm that leads to the cockpit now. There's various little parts have to be going on here, or placed on, sorry. I was debating whether to put these on now or wait until the whole thing is closed up. But looking slightly ahead in it, I think it may be better putting them on now to give me a flatter surface to rest the part on. After dry fitting these parts, they went together and held together quite well, so I'm confident I won't have to put any clamps over the top of this to hold it shut while it's getting glued into position. And now I'm moving on to issue 10. And issue 10 it will be the last issue in this stage of the video. So as you can see there, I'm going to be dealing with the hatchway for one of the doors, and it's quite a simple design. These little squares are getting placed on the inner ring that you see there on the map. There's quite a few to put on, as you can see. Each one is individually placed on with a little bit of cement just to hold it in place. And once it's dried, the ring goes inside the larger ring to form the archway. And I'm using my locking tweezers here just as clamps to make sure it doesn't move. The next stage is to place in a couple of panels. One was pre-painted and the other one I highlighted with the silver paint. And once that's in, I can place in the inner archway to form the door. Now I haven't glued this in a position yet. I may remove it, and I'm trying to make up my mind whether I should paint the panel or not. And then I'm going over to Tamiya's Weathering Master Series B, and I'm using the rust component here to go over the pipes that are unleashed that are running from the doorway to the panels. Then I'm also using Tamiya's XF55 Deck Tan just to highlight areas on the panel. And lastly, it's back to the weathering pigment. So this will bring the video to an end. If you haven't done so already, check out the channel of my other videos. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell to be notified of all the updates. Hit that like button and of course leave a comment. Also share the video. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.